Our tour of Northern Europe begins in St. Petersburg, Russia, travels to Helsinki and Stockholm, on to Oslo, and on to Bergen. Starting out in St. Petersburg, one of the great cultural capitals of Europe, we'll be visiting palaces and museums. We'll stay here for 4 days in our tour, seeing the downtown streets, and we'll be touring with our guide Olga, who's going to bring us through the Hermitage Museum. We'll spend a couple of half days inside this magnificent art museum. You're watching a 4-minute video that presents highlights of our tour of Northern Europe, traveling along in St. Petersburg by bus and on boats in the canals. We'll have some time for shopping as well, and strolling downtown along Nevsky Prospect, the main street of St. Petersburg. And then we continue by train to Helsinki in Finland. This is a very comfortable and scenic train ride. And we arrive soon enough in the capital of Finland, Helsinki. It's a charming city on the sea. It's got a waterfront farmers market. There's nice downtown cafes and pedestrian zones for strolling. It's a compact urban center. We stay at a nice hotel right in the heart of town, and we get around by tram as well as walking. We can take a trip out to the folk park at Suuressaari. They've got some old buildings here that have been brought from all over the countryside. The farmers market at the waterfront is a real popular hit, and then it's time to go. This time we're taking an overnight cruise ship from Helsinki to Stockholm. It's a very comfortable ship. We arrive in the morning to begin our touring, focusing on the old town and the historic sites and the little back alleys. We're spending 3 days here. There's that much to do. There's museums, there's shopping districts, there's all kinds of boat rides, many fine restaurants. We're staying at a nice hotel in the old town, the Gamla, and now we're out walking in the newer part of the city in the middle of the shopping district. We enjoy a walking tour through the old part of town with our local guide who tells us about the sights and fills us in on the history. And there's always some free time to go off and pursue your own personal interests. Then we take a nice train ride across from Stockholm to Oslo, the capital of Norway. Another beautiful Scandinavian city. There's a nice park right in the center of town and the National Theater. Our hotel is the Grand Hotel right on that square. There's the Oslo City Hall, and there's a lively shopping arcade area with restaurants along the waterfront. And we take a boat ride across the channel out to the museums where we see the Viking ship and a folk museum with some outstanding collections. There's a sculpture park and a beautiful art museum in Oslo. There's the famous Scream by Munch. And we're on our way again. After a couple of days in Oslo, we're heading to the far western shores of Norway to visit the charming little seaside town of Bergen. And to get there, we're going to take you on one of the most spectacular train rides in all of Europe. We're starting out in Oslo, the modern capital of Norway, and we're heading across the country through some really fascinating mountain terrain, passing lakes and rivers and waterfalls. And soon we'll be seeing some glaciers up on the mountaintops, snow in the summertime. It's beginning to look a little bit like Switzerland with these alpine lakes and tall mountains in the distance, and here we're seeing it at its best. Traveling by train in Scandinavia is safe, reliable, and comfortable. And probably the most scenic part of Scandinavia is where we're traveling now in the west of Norway. So here we have a roaring, gushing waterfall. At the little village of Myrdal, we change trains and get on the local Flam Railway down to the water's edge at the village of Flam, and there we're going to catch a boat that'll take us the rest of the way to Bergen, the boat that's going to take us down the longest fjord in Norway, the Songa Fjord, all the way to Bergen. And there's lots of great scenery along the way. And then all of a sudden we get our first breathtaking glimpse of the town of Bergen. Here's a nice view of the complex of wooden buildings called the Bergen that's about 300 years old. Zooming in now on the eastern side of the harbor, this is where our hotel is located and many of the important historic sites of town.